I heard a legend once of someone with 10 30 hertz receivers all running in the same room. Now, my previous experience, it seems like you can only have a few of them going before it starts to error out. But today we'll answer the question of how many 30 hertz receivers you can have running at once. We'll also test out other factors like if having more players in the room affects that number, or if what system you're on affects that number. And later on, we'll test a little bit of extra things. So to start, let's get a blank room and one event receiver configured to 30 hertz. Now with one 30 hertz receiver, we're already using 0.2 of CPU and 0 net. But you never have a 30 hertz receiver that's not hooked to anything, so we're gonna hook it up to this custom circuit board. Now in this board, it really doesn't do anything. All it does is it takes in the execution signal. So if we hook up the 30 hertz receiver to it, it goes up to 0.4 CPU and still 0 on the net. Now, before I make my predictions on what I think will happen, I need you to go to the comments and predict what you think will happen. So I've got kind of two different scenarios of what could happen. In the past, I have tried something similar to this, and I don't even think I got to like 10. So I'm kind of predicting like 7. But then if we go strictly by the numbers, the fact that you get 0.4 for every, I guess, connected 30 hertz receivers, I mean, if you do that, you know, do some math, you get 250 30 hertz receivers. So I really doubt that we're going to get to 250. I really am more in line with my earlier prediction of like 7. So I started selecting chips and cloning them and cloning them and cloning them and cloning them. And every time it added 0.4 CPU consistently. Oh my gosh, I'm so shocked right now. Like, because I thought I would get to like 10. Back for some more cloning, and you could see the CPU just climbing. 72, 88, 96. We're at 100% CPU. Now, I don't know if that means anything, if that's normal. I can definitely tell my system is lagging a little bit. I can feel some laggage going on. Like, that is kind of ridiculous. I was not expecting. I need to test it with other people in the room. I don't know how we're going to do that.
5 minutes later.
It's at 100% CPU, and it's just like everybody's running fine. I mean, there's nothing really happening. All right, so when I ran the experiment, I mean, I was shocked. I mean, 250 30 hertz receivers all running at the same time, and it didn't really affect anything. Even when I brought in more people, the number was still the same, 250, and it didn't even, we got a little bit of glitchiness on my system and a little bit on their system, but no change whatsoever. And then when I switched over to a PS4, I mean, I didn't even bother testing anything else because it did nothing. There was no change whatsoever. If anything, it ran smoother on my PS4, which was kind of crazy. Okay, so I went in and I did some additional testing. The main thing I was concerned about was the fact that the 30 hertz receiver going into the custom board didn't do anything, right? So I decided to try it with a few other things in order to see what the result would be. I tried it with a delay, and that added more CPU, but still was able to get a good number of 30 hertz receivers. It did change the amount though. You could definitely see where the one stopped glowing. So I don't know exactly what that number was. I saw a big difference when I used a text. So I put a text in there and I had it constantly setting the text. When it feeds the signals into the text tool, it seems like it's causing net to go up. This whole time net has been 0, not changing at all. And I'm thinking that because the text has to be synced between all the different people, even if there's not many people there, I think maybe that's what's using net. All we can really get from the experiment is that the 30 hertz receivers themselves don't add much to the CPU, only 0.4, and you can get 250 of them. The real determining factor on how many 30 hertz receivers you can have that work reliably is going to be what you are having them do. What is the 30 hertz receiver hooked up to? That thing it's hooked up to and the amount of things that are wired together, that's what's going to determine how many 30 hertz receivers you can have work reliably. If you ever wanted to try Rec Room Baseball, we'll tap here to see if it's even possible. How about you support me here on Rec Room? Click that little heart button on my profile or use code RCL1. Have a good day, everybody. RCL Man out.